Okay, taking a break from strength training today, I will be hopping into some hypertrophy work. I will be focusing on arms and shoulders today. I will also be discussing hidden monsters that could be holding you back in fitness and in life. So stick around for those things. I'm starting with chin-ups with extra focus on the bicep, especially at the top. I like to hold it for a second and really contract so you feel it in the biceps. One reason I like doing chin-ups a lot as a bicep exercise is because it's easy to be able to push some extra reps into it once you kind of hit failure with the biceps, because you can start kind of transitioning into more of the back to help get a little bit extra squeeze on the biceps. I will try not to be huffing and puffing throughout this whole video, but when it comes to hypertrophy work, you don't have to rest as long as you do during strength work, so I tend to knock out sets and reps a little bit faster. Well, not reps, but just the sets a little bit faster. So I might be breathing a little bit heavy. Maybe that excites you a little bit, I don't know, but I kind of hope not. When you're doing these incline curls, you want to make sure that you're not short arming it at the bottom and that you're coming all the way back to get that full stretch. So one thing that you could do is just extend with the tricep, actually activate the tricep at the bottom of the move here, so that way you're taking all the tension off the bicep to get the full stretch, and then come back up with it. It's a really good burn. So the first hidden monster I want to talk about that translates really well in fitness is maybe you're doing something that you don't enjoy or something that doesn't work very well for you. And what I mean by that is if you've been realizing how important it is to be fit and healthy for a long time, but you just can't stick with it, it could just be that you haven't found what matches with you. I know that if I, for example, had to rely on endurance running, long distance running to stay fit and stay in shape, I would never do it. I hate distance running. It's boring and it hurts my knees, so I don't like it. If I had to do that over lifting weights, then I probably would just weigh an extra 50 pounds and never work out. So keep an open mind, especially if you're someone that says, oh, I don't like to work out, or it's too hard. Just keep trying new things. You know, go to a cycling class, go swimming, go try rowing, go do CrossFit. I don't care what it is, as long as you're out there doing something. And that applies to life as well. I think a lot of people like to turn straight to drugs if you're depressed, for example, or if you have anxiety or ADD or whatever. I definitely think that it's better to try other alternatives first before you just head to drugs. And you know, if you're doing stuff that you can't keep your attention or you hate it, then it's a good chance that you just haven't found anything that you enjoy doing, or at the very least something that you can tolerate, because sometimes we just have to do things that we don't enjoy. You know, it's hard to find a job that you enjoy, but there might be some things that you're able to do to tweak that job to make it more enjoyable, or just go get a different job. You know, we get in these points in our lives where you think there's no turning back, where you're so deep into something that you just can't do something different, but it's crazy how we prioritize those things. Life is short. I mean, any of us could die today, tomorrow, and you know, we spend all these times doing things that we don't like for a little extra money. One of my favorite ways to think about money is probably something that you've heard before, but would you take $1 billion now if it meant that you died tomorrow? Well, no. For most people, I would think that they would not take that. Maybe the super depressed people out there would, and I'm sorry if that's you. I hope you get better. But for me, I would not take $1 billion if it meant that I would die tomorrow. So that means that each day I wake up is priceless, essentially. And I think that's a really good way to think about money. And you know, if you're not willing to take that kind of money, then why wouldn't you go get a job that you would enjoy more if it means that you're making $30,000 less? I mean, it's just money. It's not the most important thing, even though it feels like it sometimes. So in both fitness and life, just try and tweak things to make it more enjoyable, and if you can't enjoy it, then just make it more bearable, and just keep tweaking and tweaking until you find that thing. I think it's out there for everybody. If you have to sit up a little bit to kind of get that last rep in, I don't think that's a problem either. So if you're trying to do the majority of them like this, obviously, but if on that last one to get it all the way up, you have to come up, nothing wrong with that. Oh, okay. Oh, I'll try and get one more. Oh, that was ugly. Ow. Now what I do to put extra stretch on these tricep extensions, these incline tricep extensions, is when I'm at the bottom, I try and let the weights just pull my elbows back as far as I can get them, and then just try and keep them there. And then as I get later in the reps, you know, if you have to bring those elbows forward to finish it off at the top, then that's what you got to do to get that extra hypertrophy work in. We want to go to failure. Something else you want to be careful of when you're doing those too is putting too much pressure on the back of your head and your neck. You want to try and make sure that you're putting the pressure on the upper back and shoulders up here so that you're protecting your neck and your spine. The next thing I want to talk about is a little bit more obvious, and it's just being consistent, but I do want to talk about it in a way that's not so obvious. You know, everyone knows that if you want to get in shape or accomplish something, then you got to make sure that you're showing up on a regular basis and working pretty hard for it. But I think people underestimate the value of just doing something. You know, if maybe you're a beginner trying to get into it and you can't stick with it because you hate being sore and you hate lifting to failure. I mean, it hurts to go to failure. So maybe you've quit at 3 months, 5 different times throughout your life. And instead of just quitting, just who cares if you're only doing something for 45 minutes a week? Just go like on a 10-minute jog twice a week, or, you know, just do 100 push-ups or something like that. Whatever it is that you can do. That stuff stacks up. You know, first off, you don't allow yourself to completely quit. You're still doing something. You're still doing something that's challenging, but at the same time, you're not just dropping off a cliff completely and having to start over again. So you're building a habit, you're building consistency, you are making some sort of progress. It might not be something that's easily visible or noticeable because you're doing the bare minimum, but bare minimum is better than nothing. So just keep doing something, keep showing up. Keep push and play, as Tony Horton used to say in P90X, if you did those like I did back in the day. But any type of consistency is better than nothing, and compound interest or compounding is a natural law to me. As long as you're doing 100 push-ups every 2 days, then eventually push-ups are going to get easier and easier and easier. So just stick with it. And the same thing applies to someone that's been doing it for years. Maybe you've had an injury and you can't do the kind of things that you like anymore. Just go do something. Go for a walk. Just do something that gets your heart rate up. And that applies to life too. I love compound interest. So yeah, if you feel like you're stuck in a rut and you're not making any progress towards anything and there's no hope for the future, then just start putting $5 into this freaking Vanguard or Fidelity or whatever. Just start putting something in the S&P 500 and just work towards something. I promise it'll make you feel better. Do the bare minimum at least consistently. Oh, this probably got ugly, but I really wanted to get 10 there. I got 9 last time, so it's just trying to do one better. I don't even know if I counted that right. Another hidden monster could be the way that you see yourself or the labels that you put on yourself. I touched on this a little bit in my previous video, but the stories that we tell ourselves are extremely important. You know, if you feel like you've got a history of being inconsistent or undisciplined, and you feel like that is your identity, that you are not a disciplined person or not a consistent person, then you're just going to keep being that way. So it's really important to remember that all we have is the present moment. You know, trying to identify things in the past sometimes to me is just a waste of time, because you could just be taking your past self and labeling it and making it your present self, and that could be detrimental. If it's really important for you to get fit, but you keep telling yourself that you're incapable of it, then you're just not going to do it. If you keep telling yourself that you have commitment issues, but you want to get married, then you're probably not going to get married. It's going to be very hard to find somebody that's going to want to commit to you, and you can't commit to yourself. So to me, it's very important that you see yourself as the version of yourself that you want to be, and not the version of yourself that you might have been or think that you may be still. The way you see yourself is literally just the things you tell yourself and the things that other people tell you about yourself. So if you don't like those things, change the things you tell yourself, and change maybe the people that are telling you those things into people that tell you the things that you want to hear in a good way, not a terrible, egotistical kind of way. Whew. Whew. A little lightheaded on that one. Even if you never plan on doing any YouTube video or social media or something, you should definitely record yourself, because you could be like me and find out that you have a crazy imbalance when you're doing your overhead press, and you never realize it until you're recording yourself. So I have a tendency, as you'll probably notice as I'm doing these, that my right side gets higher than my left side, and I can't tell if that's because I'm rotating or if it's because I have better mobility in this shoulder, whatever it is. So I'm using lighter weight. I've only got 65 pounds on here, and I'm going to stick with lighter weight until I figure out that imbalance. I've been stuck on a plateau with the overhead press at 155 pounds that I can't get past, but I have shitty form, and you know, that's going to make it a lot harder to get past the plateau if you have shitty form. That is super frustrating. I do have really bad shoulder mobility, so I'm kind of hoping it's a bit of a mobility problem, but I'm also not kind of hoping, because mobility work is boring and I don't enjoy it as much as just lifting. So I hope I can just figure it out. I am doing some calf work in between these sets too. I'm doing that off camera just because I use my stairs for calf work, and I don't really have a good way to film myself doing that. So what I do is I'm just using 40-pound dumbbell, just one dumbbell, and I'm just doing calf raises, just good old boring calf raises. I have really small calves, and it's because I don't work them like I do other muscles. Calf work is pretty boring to me, probably because I've done body weight stuff mostly with calf work, and it just is kind of boring to sit there and do 50 reps of something over and over again. The calisthenic guys are very impressive with the way that they can just do repetitive body weight work over and over and over and over again. If I had to do 30 to 50 reps of something on a regular basis, it would motivate me a lot less than just lifting some weights and being able to do it 8 to 12 times or whatever. It just gets boring. I think I'm just rotating. I think when I get to the top, I start to rotate like this instead of saying square. It's tough to watch yourself live on these teeny tiny side cameras that this camera has. I paused the recording for a little bit and had my wife come upstairs and watch me to verify that I was super off at the top. So my shoulders are actually pretty worn out already. So I'm doing like 6 reps with these 65 pounds here, and already pretty worn out. But I still want to get some on camera, and I still want to work on it and burn the shoulders today, baby. Muscle imbalances and bad habits can sneak up on you if you're not really paying attention to it. The fact that I worked out so long without a partner or a coach or without recording myself clearly is an indicator of that. I have mostly used dumbbells for shoulder presses in my fitness life, and maybe not having that feeling of the bar getting uneven on me has caused me to develop bad habits that I don't even notice anymore. But hey, I'm going to correct it, and you're going to help me. You're going to help keep me accountable. So if I have shitty form, just let me know. I would like that. Something I find useful to do, especially when I'm doing the lateral portion of this shoulder exercise, is to stick the chest out a little bit, just because it helps take the tension out of the traps. Make sure you're not working your traps on these, and you're focusing more on the shoulders. So stick that chest out a little bit rather than hunching over, because it's super easy if you hunch a little bit just to start feeling it more back there. So stick the chest out and you'll feel it in the shoulders. So the last hidden monster I want to talk about is kind of a 2-for-1, and it is sleep and food. They're definitely more obvious. People know that you should be eating healthy or that you should be getting enough sleep. But they tie together to me because the times that I end up eating bad are when I'm sleepy or in a bad mood. And normally I'm in a bad mood because I'm sleepy. Now, adjusting both those things can be a little bit daunting or overwhelming because neither one of them are super exciting. If you're someone that doesn't enjoy your job, then it can be hard to go to sleep at night because you don't want to have to get up the next day. Or food is so addictive, you know, those companies spend billions of dollars making food addictive that it's really hard to get off of things. So the best thing you could do, in my opinion, is just start making baby steps if those are things that you're looking to improve, which I definitely recommend. I know my life has been better when I got cleaner in my food and I started getting a little bit more sleep, although I still definitely can work on both those things. But just take baby steps. You know, if you find that you're drinking too much soda or eating too much sugar, then just cut out 1 can of soda or just cut out 1 piece of candy a week, and then just keep going from there. Make it 2 the next week or 2.5 the next week. And for sleep, if you're getting 5 hours but you need to be getting 7, then, you know, just start getting an extra 30 minutes here and there, or don't be on your phone at night or something like that. Just any baby step that helps you feel like you're progressing towards a goal that you feel like you should meet. But those definitely affect fitness, and they definitely improve your life overall. One trick I like to do with myself is the day after I eat really poorly, like I just had no self-control that day, the next day I will do really intense cardio because it makes me feel awful. I just have that big old rock in my stomach and it's harder to breathe. You know, I feel more congested the day after I eat really bad. So it helps put a visceral reminder in myself, hey, don't eat bad, because if it's making you feel bad like this, what other ways is it making you feel bad that you might not even recognize? You know, a lot of people have joint problems, knee pains, arthritis, gout, those kind of things that sometimes can be fixed just by cleaning up your food. Because it's so easy sometimes for me to go a couple weeks and kind of forget the reason why I'm not eating bad food, because, you know, it's tempting. It's around the house, it's around the corner, it's easy just to grab sometimes. Almost making myself sick the next day in a workout is really good motivation for me to not eat bad again anytime soon. All right, we're going to finish off these lateral raises with a hold for as long as I can. It's not going to be long. Whew, that burns. Whew. All right, that's all I got for you today. I hope I was able to put some value into your life and maybe teach you something new. That would be awesome if that's the case. I sincerely appreciate anyone that's still watching at this point, and special shout out to you, Dean Coates. I guess that's how you say it. I really appreciate that comment you left a couple videos ago. You know, those kind of things when you have a small YouTube channel can make a big difference in the way that I look forward to the next video. So special thanks to you. And that's all I got for you today. See you.